was entertaining. It was designed to do what it's designed to do, is to keep you watching, regardless of the truth. But here we're going to discuss truth. We have to get to the top 10 male comics, since Steve-O made his change instead of active, because I had a completely different list. And that list would have had some characters on it. You were like, I think, but we might do that episode later. But dead or alive. I'll start off. Aaron will review the Steve-O. My number one comic, male comic, dead or alive, is the GOAT himself. He's been called Caesar by one comic. You have seen him in stand-ups like Delirious and Raw. You have seen him in all the 90s greats like Nutty Professor. No, it was actually 2000. Vampire in Brooklyn. Bowfinger. That was not a classic. But he's had classic characters, Mulan to Shrek. This guy, Eddie Murphy. The reason for his number one status. Laughability, obviously, is the obvious one. Is this person funny? Body of work. Eddie Murphy has evolved from not just a stand-up, obviously he has a lot of famous stand-ups, but to have movies that were hits, to be on SNL. His body of work is almost unmatched. If Eddie is in something, it's going to be big, even if it's a flop. Eddie Murphy is fun. He is the reason why I feel like they all do it, because they all want to be big. Like Eddie was big in the 80s. Eddie is the reason why we have Coming to America. He's the reason why we have Boomerang. Where else can we have seen Robin Givens, Halle Berry, and Leela Rashawn in their prime competing?
Marcus.
Marcus, darling. Where else? Nowhere. Because of Eddie Murphy. And that is why he's my number one on the top 10 comics, male comics of all time.
Okay.
Touché.
I do rock with the man Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
I'll get a little more into him when I pick him, but I don't have Eddie Murphy as my number one. I got someone who's a little more dear to my heart. I don't know if it's because I just grew up with this man, or I've seen him from all angles, from him coming on through Def Jam, Kings of Comedy, all sorts of stuff. But I got the man Bernie Mac, legendary.
That's my
He's legendary through body of work, him being just how funny it is, all his movies, his shows. He's able to do the family thing. He's able to do the raunchy thing. He's got an angle for everybody. So for whatever everything likes, he got a little piece for you. And Bernie Mac, he can do everything for me. So that's why he's my favorite. I love Bernie Mac. I've never laughed the way I've laughed at a family show just like Bernie Mac's show. I think Bernie Mac's show was before its time. It was. I know we had black sitcoms, all growing up and stuff, but this is finally a black sitcom I feel that actually connected, besides like the Martin Show or something. But Bernie Mac is just personally, he's just my favorite.
I'm not mad. I'm not even mad at Bernie. As a Chicagoan,
and that too. It's
hard not to put Bernie up there.
And what's crazy? Growing up, I didn't know he was from Chicago till like I got older, and then it was like it makes sense though. Mm-hmm. It makes so much sense, and to that I second that. Bernie is by far none the GOAT. Why? It's just something simple. I break it down to. You don't want to come on behind him. Nobody wants to be when Bernie is there. Nobody's sitting there taking jokes because everybody gonna gravitate towards Bernie. They don't care what you talking about, Eddie. They don't care what you talking about, Richard. They don't care what you talking about, Katt, bro. I'm just being honest. When Bernie opened up his mouth and he talking, he's gonna have the crowd laughing from start to finish, and that's why he the GOAT.
Some milk and cookies. That's what I'm saying.
I thought I want some milk and cookies. When white people say when white people recognize you as the GOAT, that's saying something.
Bro, you got white people talk about him downstairs.
A joke that cannot be iterated today.
I thought that was something that was for us. I thought that was our people's stuff, but I was listening to Joe Rogan, and he was even saying, he's like, man, dude was a genius.
He was, you know what Bernie had? Bernie had the look and the voice. Like you knew something funny was gonna come out.
Yeah, and
I don't know what's wrong with him.
he felt like a preacher. He felt like he was preaching comedy, you know. Just
I
the way.
like Bernie, man. I mean, his style, his delivery. He was the. We'll say this. He was the best one on the original Keys of Comedy. Like
Bar none.
Bar none. There was no second. It was Bernie, Steve MC, then said, and yeah, right? Like it was Bernie is I think as a comedian, I'm not a comedian. Well, I would say I have performed one time at the Alsip Comedy Club on Amateur Night. So I'm gonna count that crap.
Okay.
Yeah, nobody booed me, so
Okay.
it was cool. I didn't get a lot of laughs, but nobody booed.
No.
But I would say that if Bernie Mac is performing, I would hate to be the comic that follows.
Mm-hmm.
How could you follow such an act? Because he's gonna destroy the audience, no matter who it is, right?
Yeah. As far as stand up, I don't know how it gets any better. Besides, maybe Eddie, maybe someone like Katt or something. But as far as stand up, it doesn't get much better, and that's not even including all his other bodies of work.
That's true.
We didn't even break it down. Like from movies, like even I feel like some of his smaller movies was his most funniest.
Yeah,
like
House Party, Soul Man. Like,
Soul Man.
You know how many times I quote Soul Man? Talking about 60-40. Like it's just stuff like that. He has so many iconic lines in so many iconic movies. Like it's too many. You cannot have them and not outside the topic.
Yeah, life.
Trouble. Right. How many times I randomly just trouble.
Bernie Mac, I'm not mad at it. Bernie Mac is you too. Okay, for number 2, I'm gonna catch controversy for this. I don't care what anybody says, regardless of the facts of whatever. I don't condone any of that,